103, take 3, second 6, mark.
Great. Cool. Okay.
All right, so could you just talk about your kind of views on education and how you think people should be taught in schools, and like maybe a little bit about how you were taught and what you liked or didn't like?
Well, I think that there's a function of age in learning, and there is this period between 16 and 22 which I think sometimes gets overly rigid, and that a good student, we're not talking about people who need to catch up or anything, we're talking about people who are at their grade level or advanced, that you need to have the widest freedom of inquiry to what you're interested in. Some of the generalist knowledge ideas that schools have, where you should take calculus, you should do this, you do that. You go, well, I don't want to be a scientist or a mathematician. I want to be a botanist, or I want to be an engineer. But I mean, I want to be a painter. I want to be a writer. It seems like people should be allowed to inquire in the area they're really interested in and dabble if they feel like it, as opposed to a set curriculum where you have to take this, this, and this. And I was lucky because Harvard was, you had, the freshman year was a set curriculum, but after that it got really open to what you wanted to do. And I was interested in anthropology and visual studies, and I was fortunate enough to study with Rudolf Arnheim, and as I told you, Joseph Campbell as a guest student down at Sarah Lawrence. Those were my interests, and going vertically deep is really more valuable than a generalist liberal arts sort of education to me. And I think that if the students that would be drawn to that style of education are the ones that are going to benefit by it. Some people need the regimentation. They need term papers, and they need deadlines, and they need to study history and calculus and English literature. They need all that, and that's fine, because there's no part of that is not useful if you're going to be an artist, creator of any kind. I can't tell you the amount I have used calculus and Newtonian physics or string theory or Einsteinian physics in my work in visual effects. I never would have thought any of that would have been worth anything in film, because what good is calculus in film, right? But you get into the world of algorithms and creating digital effects and understanding gravity, because you look at the sequels to my film Fast and Furious, they have no respect for gravity whatsoever. People fly through the air, cars pull down jets, or jumbo jets. I mean, it's just like no sense. If you look at mine, the original one, you'll see that everything is very rooted. All the effects are really rooted in a sense of gravity and physics, including the Einsteinian shot. In when Paul Walker hits the nos and the world curves. That's a tip to the hat to Einsteinian physics, that at the speed of light, it actually curves. Space curves. So you use these things in odd and unexpected ways. So there's no knowledge that's bad knowledge. But sometimes when there's a person like you who at 16 has a clear idea of what you want to do, then you should be allowed to follow that intensely without becoming shallow, because it is an anthropological background or a historical background or a mythic myth study like Joseph Campbell background that will inform your understanding of stories.